Hi there, welcome to my views and news. Two news stories. Firstly, Somalia, through its Mr. Foreign Affairs, threatened both Ethiopia and Somaliland against, warned Ethiopia and Somaliland against finalizing the agreement, against signing the final agreement. What will happen if Ethiopia and Somaliland sign final agreement, which Dr. Isa Kay 2 days ago said was imminent? He said that the final agreement was imminent. Then a minister from Somalia responded. It seems that Somalia would take it as a declaration of war if Ethiopia and Somaliland to sign final agreement. What will Somalia do? Secondly, Sasavaki, Eritrean president, gave an interview around 36 hours ago to Eritrean national television channel. Eritrea has only one television channel, one newspaper, one radio station, all owned by Eritrean government. Several viewers contacted me. They said, Sajid, you did not cover this interview. Short interview, around 30-minute long, I think. I watched it after viewers sent me messages. Sasavurki spoke like an outsider, like he was analyzing Africa, sitting outside, and he had nothing to do with Africa in terms of decision making. What did he say? I have a few points to share with you. Firstly, viewers, around 48 hours ago, Dr. Isa Kaid, Somaliland's foreign minister, briefed foreign diplomats in Hargeisa. He talked to media as well. He announced two things. Firstly, he announced the closure of Egyptian Library and Cultural Center in Hargeisa, saying the cultural center and library were situated in a sensitive area very close to presidential palace and the parliament. Though the two facilities have been here for years, but obviously this expulsion of Egyptian officials from Somaliland is retaliation for Egyptian military deployment in Somalia. Secondly, Dr. Isa Kaid said that Ethiopia Somaliland MOU has been finalized, and final agreement between the two sides is imminent. Imminent means anytime it can happen. Then an Ethiopian minister was interviewed on Al Jazeera. His name is Ali Balat, State Minister for Foreign Affairs. Foreign Minister is Ahmed Fiki. He is State Minister for Foreign Affairs. Ali Balad made 2 points. Firstly, he said that if Ethiopia and Somaliland sign final agreement, it would be seen as a declaration of war. Somalia would treat it as declaration of war, and Somalia will respond accordingly. Accordingly means that Somalia will resort to all options, including military options. This is very big, by the way. Somalia is saying that if final agreement is signed, it will wage war, defensive war, Somalia calls it, firstly. Secondly, he talked about the capabilities of Somalia's forces. He said, yes, Egyptian forces will arrive in Somalia, but Somalia's forces are capable. They can defend their sovereignty and territorial integrity. Ethiopia cannot annex Somali territories. So this is the situation that two rounds of discussion between Ethiopia and Somalia held under the auspices of Turkey achieved nothing. Third round expected to start after a week, but it could be postponed, keeping in view the heightened tension between the two countries. And now, when it seems that Ethiopia Somaliland final agreement is imminent, Somalia is warning. What will Somalia do, by the way, if Ethiopia and Somaliland sign a final agreement? Somalia has several options at the table which it might exercise. I'll do a separate video on that. Secondly, Sasavuki, Eritrean president, gave an interview to Eritrea TV on Wednesday. He returned from China after attending China-Africa summit. He stayed there for almost a week. The day he returned, I think the same day or after, the next day, he gave this interview to Eritrea TV. Short interview, just 27, 28-minute long interview. Here are 4 questions from the host. Basically, Sasavuki spoke. This is what happens that whenever he gives interviews, mostly he gives interviews to Eritrea TV, his own channel, Eritrean government-owned television channel. And there he just speaks for hours sometimes. What did he say? The interview focused mainly on China-Africa summit, which he attended. And he lectured Africa, entire Africa. It was as if he was representing entire Africa. He said that African economies are not manufacturing economies. They don't have, African countries don't have manufacturing industries. Their raw material is taken by outsiders, Westerners, other countries, and then manufactured items are exported to Africa, which Africa buys. Africa borrows from other countries. He said borrowing is not wrong, but African economy relying on loans, subsidies, affected by internal conflicts, will have to set its own house in order before taking advantage of the interest shown by global powers in Africa. He called for regional integration, regional economic integration. He said Ethiopia, he mentioned Ethiopia too. Ethiopia, South Sudan, Yemen. Whatever happens in one country will definitely affect other countries too. Alone, countries cannot progress. There should be regional integration. Uh, uh, what has he done for regional integration so far as a president of a country? Eritrea intervened in Sudan, intervened in Ethiopia. It was accused of being involved in Eritrea, not on good terms with Djibouti, involved in Yemen. What has he done in terms of regional economic integration? Nothing. The only agreement which he signed with Ethiopia was in 2018. Ethiopia, Somalia, Eritrea signed the agreement. Even that, not agreement, I think those were MOUs. Even those could not be implemented. Then his own country's economy has been destroyed. I did a video on the Eritrean economy and how it was just destroyed by the ruling PFDJ government. That in order to kill the demand for dollars, manufacturing industry, other industries were just crushed. Eritrean diaspora does not invest in Eritrea. They love Eritrea, they want to invest here. Because why? There is no safety. There is no liberalized economy. So their investment won't be safe here. Then he expressed his views about unipolar world. He used this word a lot, this term, unipolar world. He said that Westerners, Americans, they have lost their hegemony. The world is no more unipolar world. other powers have emerged, China, Russia, etc. He appreciated China, but he said China-Africa relationship should be mutually beneficial. He said that his country has submitted a paper to China about how China-Africa relations should be. He criticized African organizations, ECOWAS, African Union, IGAD. They are insignificant. Africa should have strong organizations which can work for regional integration so that these organizations can represent Africa. This is not new. It has been Issa Savuki's consistent position. He always criticized African Union and other African organizations. So this is what he said. He appreciated China. He appreciated Xi Jinping's 10-point plan, which Xi Jinping announced at China Africa Summit. Thank you for watching.